welcome to the Whispers of Hope show. I'm your host, Alice White. Today we have a special show for you, which is a follow-up to a show that we did a few months back. Today I will be talking with my son, Kevin Wharton. If you remember my story, it was back in 1971 when I lost my son due to a very unfortunate set of circumstance when he was only 6 months old. But I never gave up searching for him for over 26 years. Then, through a miraculous turn of events, I was able to find Kevin in 1998 through a nonprofit program called W.A.R.M, Washington Adoption Reunion Movement. If you want to see the interview where I tell the whole story, you can find it on our Facebook page or our YouTube channel. The title of the show is Faith That Will Move a Mountain. And I thank you for joining us today. Hi, Kevin.
Hi, Mama.
So good for you to join me today. And I've been waiting for a very long time to put together a time where I could spend time with my son, Kevin. As you know, I told my story a couple of months back. And I told the story about the journey that I was on as the events of my life changed drastically. My little 6-month-old son was taken into custody through the DSHS, and through a series of events, I could not in any way, shape, or form retrieve the brokenness of my life that my son was gone. But God is faithful, and I got to get reunited back with my son after 26 and a half years. And so you've heard my story, and so now today is time for my son Kevin to share his side of the story. So Kevin, I'm going to turn it over to you, and just if you could share your feelings and how the events of your life kind of played out for you.
Well, I always remember one thing that it kept me always going is, just growing up not knowing who I was or where I came from. Being with people I knew weren't my blood, that treated me sometimes really awful. But, you keep going, you keep going, you keep going, one foot in front of the other. And the one thing that really helped is once a year I was always reminded. Because my birthday, of course, I was born May 9th, 1971, which was Mother's Day.
Yes.
And the one thing that it's always there for me was, hey, I was born on Mother's Day. What a awesome thing that is, and at the same time, you don't know anything about what's going on with where you came from or whatever, and you look in a mirror, and especially me, I'm not one to say, not one to be conceited or nothing, but I know, I'm not ugly, so you're looking in a mirror and you're like, man, why did this happen to me, I know I'm decent looking, and what was wrong with me that got me here, and in all honesty, I had issues for a lot of years, but the lady that was my foster mom, she was a very, very good lady. She was a very loving lady, and she loved children, and her heart was always in the right place, and she was like a best friend to me growing up, really. She was my one-person rooting section. I used to be on a swim team, and you could hear that woman even with my head in the water. She'd be, go, Chip, go, go, Chip, go. And she passed when I was 14, that was a real hard time, because at that point I'm just like, man, I'm 14 years old and I've already lost 2 moms, and what else do you do but just, keep going, and she was, she was everything to me, of course. And then, as years went on, I graduated high school. I didn't really even like school, to be honest with you. I was just like really down about myself. But, I made a promise to her, that I would graduate, and the last time I seen her, actually, before she died, I told her, hey, Mom, don't worry, I'm going to graduate high school just for you. Because she knew I wasn't into it. But, I was an average student. I wasn't nothing special, I didn't think, but as time went on, I married a lady, and we had 3 kids. my Samantha Renee, my Adriana Rochelle, and Kevy Jr. Kevy Jr., though, he didn't come along until after I met Mom, actually.
Mm-hmm.
He came along in '99, but what's crazy is I was at work. I was a finish carpenter, and I'm at work, and I'm cutting up some baseboard or whatever, and my wife, she never came out to the job site, but she showed up, so I'm thinking, okay, what's going on? And she had this real, she had a really just off look about her, something was wrong, and she has this manila envelope, and, you know, she used to call me too, you know, because I used to always say, I love you, and she'd be like, I love you too, you know, so I see her coming, and she gives me this envelope, and she's like, well, who's this lady? And I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? So I open it up, and the first thing it was a letter in there, but I didn't read that at first for Diane Sams, but there was a card, you know, and I opened it up, and there's a picture of Mom. And I was just like, what? And I looked up, and my wife was crying. She goes, that's your mama too? And I was just like, wow, how could, there was no denying whatsoever that was, I mean, whew, you don't need a blood test for that one, you know. And I was amazed, you know. I was like, wow, you know, all this time looking in the mirror and wondering what my mom looked like, and the whole time I was looking at her face and didn't even know it. I knew what she looked like the whole time, didn't even know it, you know. And you know, as got around to it, I sat on that letter for 3 days because I was beside myself because of, you know, the story that I got growing up, and it was just a small one. It's basically your mom was really young, and she pawned you off on the grandparent, and the grandma was, you know, too old or didn't want to take care of you, whatever's, you know, basically long story short. And that's how I became in foster care. And my mom couldn't find me, of course, because my father was the head supervisor at the DSHS office, and his home was where I was at because his wife was a stay-at-home mom, whatever, and they took in the worst of the worst cases, and I was considered one of those cases. You know, when they got a hold of me, you know, Betty, bless her heart, she first time she went to change me, you know, my backside was so raw from being left in a car carrier that she was bawling her eyes out. She was wiping my backside because I was screaming bloody murder. You know, and my only sister from my adoptive family, she was there because, of course, Mom called her, hey, I got a baby, you got to come see this baby. And before the baby got there, so before I even showed up, my sister Sandra, you know, she was right there, so she filled me in on some of that. She goes, you have no idea what Mom, when she first got a hold of you, she was so excited because, oh, she gets a baby. She always wanted another baby, and then when she saw you, her heart totally just went out the door for you because you were in really, really bad shape. You really were, and the fact that my backside was just raw like it was from a...
So let me interrupt you just for 1 second. Back during that time, I want to explain this to today's viewers. On my first show that I did with just myself, Bob Hoyt was my host, and of course I was the guest. I told my story about getting back together with Kevin. But when my parents took you to Tri-Cities, they were on their way on a vacation. They were going to be gone for 2 weeks. They stopped in to see my elder brother and his wife. And she actually was pregnant. She had about 3 kids herself. And she convinced my parents that, you know, just let the baby stay with us, this beautiful little, you know, boy. And between that time of my parents agreeing to it, what had happened, there's 14 days elapsed there, probably towards the end. I don't have this documented. Towards the end of the 14 days before they came back, my sister-in-law, my brother's wife, took Kevin, my baby, 6 months old, to DSHS and had declared that she wanted to get money. She wanted to find out what she could do for income with this child, that the parents did not want this child. The mother was young, the grandparents were old, and that the mother had pawned the baby off on the grandparents. This horrific story was told against me with no defense, and DSHS immediately you know, as a red flag, and they took him into custody. And at this time, he had severe diaper rash, which of course would be a flag for a child abuse situation. So, saying that to say this, I'm going to turn this back over to you, Kevin. So,
Yeah, you know, as I got a little older, of course, you know, funny thing is, you know, I had blonde, white hair like you.
mm-hmm.
You know, summertime it was really, really white because I swam a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember when I was adopted, you know, they had to wait 7 years, and because supposedly they were trying to find you, they couldn't, you know, and we know there's something
Yeah.
that was going on there. But either way, I remember them pulling me out of school. I was in first grade, and they took me into the court, and then of course I'm in the seat behind, and you know, I'm hearing them talk, and then next thing I know, the judge, you know, I remember, even though I was so little, his name was Judge Felstead, and
Mm-hmm.
he was a super nice gentleman. He asked me, hey, I'm going to take Kevin back into my chambers, and I'm going to have a talk with him.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I'll be back out in 15 minutes. And he goes, come on, Kevin. He grabbed me by the hand when I got up there by him, and he took me into his chambers, and he goes, come on over here. And he sat me up on his lap, and he goes, son, I got to make a decision, you know. And this decision I got to make, it's about you.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to make sure it's what you want, you know. And I'm going to ask you, you know, who do you want to go home with? You know, apparently there was Betty and Wade. They've been raising me so far because I was in the foster home. There's somebody else who I don't know, but there was somebody else wanting to adopt me also. Believe that, and which I don't blame him because I was handsome and all. But you know, I said, well, I want to go home with my mom and dad. And he goes, your mom and dad? Well, yeah, Betty and Wade. It's because that's the only mom and dad I ever knew.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he goes, okay, then that's what we'll do. And he's
Mm-hmm.
took me back out there, and they finalized the adoption. And you know, the crazy thing is the adoption papers, I found them when I got older, later. I never knew what my last name even was.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I found these adoption papers, and
Mm-hmm.
I seen these whiteout marks, says Kevin, and it was whited out, and then Wharton, W-H-A-R-T-O-N, was over the top of it. And I was like, huh. Scratched off the whiteout. I was like, A-N-G-L-I-N. Oh my gosh darn, that's my last name.
Wow.
And I didn't know how to pronounce it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
For years I thought it was Angelin.
Mm-hmm.
And actually it was Anglin, which is funny because, you know, I did fishing at one time, of course, a little bit, and I wrote that letter, and a lot of that was just because that was my way of dealing with mixed emotions or whatever, and don't ask, you know, maybe it was my heart wanting to pour out to somebody, maybe it was because I was missing Betty.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you, but I just sat down and
Mm-hmm.
I wrote that letter, and then you know, I got off the boat, I kept it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I didn't, you know, I wrote it like with intention to send it, but where do you send a letter when you don't know where to send it to?
Right.
You know, and I was like, oh, I'll save it. And I don't, you know, to be honest with you, I saved it, yes, but it's like in lieu of that, I can't tell you why outside of maybe that was my way of, you know, someday I'm going to meet her, and so, or someday I'll find out, or, you know, but at least you'll know in the future that far back, whenever we meet, that I was thinking of her.
You felt something in your heart.
Yeah.
You had a mama that was praying for you every day of your life at that point.
And I remember that day that Diane called me.
Diane Sands.
Well, it took me like 3 days before I sent off the letter that was signed, you know, to go ahead and get a hold of me, because what was crazy is that letter said, hey, I'm Diane Sands. I remember, I'm Diane Sands. I'm an intermarried person. You know, I work for W.A.R.M.
Right.
We're looking for somebody, and the somebody that we're looking for, it has your birth date. You're the only one in the Tri-Cities that has your birth date and his name, Kevin. And if you're the one, then you know were you adopted out or whatever, you know, send us in and let me know. Do you want to get in contact with her if you're the one, whatever. So I thought about it for 3 days. I cried over it a lot. You know, I was thinking about mixed emotions. My dad was still alive. He was a winter Texan. He was, you know, I always go out of my way to say, hey, Dad, you know, this what's going on, this what's going on. But I tried calling him, but you know, he didn't answer, and I, you know, he's getting up in years at that time. But anyway, I was just like, you know what, regardless of what the story is that even if me and Mom, if there's something fluey there, you know, I got brothers and sisters, and you know, we deserve to at least know each other. You know, I mean,
right.
We didn't do nothing to deserve,
Right.
you know.
Right. No.
You know, so I finally got the call. You know, I was washing my Oldsmobile. That's what's funny about the whole thing. We had a '93 Oldsmobile. Of course, this is a '98, and I'm out there washing it, and I get a phone call. So I go in, and it's Diane Sams. She goes, "Hi, Kevin. This is Diane Sams." I was like, "Oh, hi." She goes, "Okay, so I got your letter, and do you want to know your mom's name?" I was like, "Well, yeah. Well, her name's Alice, and you have numerous. You know, you have a little sister. I guess you have an older sister. You have 3 younger brothers. You have a grandma. You got aunts. You got uncles, and they miss you so much." Is what she wanted me to tell you.
Yeah.
And she goes, when would be a good time for you to for her to get a hold of you, you know? And I was like, "Well, what's wrong with right now?" I mean, you know, she goes, she laughed too, that's what's funny. She goes, "Attaboy." She goes, "Okay, well, this is what I'm gonna try to call Alice. And hopefully I get a hold of her, and if I do, then I'm gonna call you and let you know I contacted her. And then I'll call her and let her know that you're ready, and then I'll have her call you, blah, blah, blah," basically like that. So I'm sitting there watching my Oldsmobile, and phone rings again, and I was just like, oh, man. And I had you know, the cordless one that they used to have back when.
Yes.
Okay, I had to go sit down because I didn't know. I mean, I was like a nervous wreck at that point. And I go sit down, and I answer the phone, and I thought it was you. It was Diane Sims. I was like, "Hey, okay," she was there. "Okay, are you ready? Okay, the next phone call you get is going to be your mom." Wow. I was just like, oh my God, really? Yeah, I was crying before I even answered the doggone phone. And then, if it was even a couple minutes later, you know, the phone rings, and the only thing I could say is, "You know, Mama?" And she goes, "Is that my beautiful baby? Oh my God, I can't believe it's you. I've been looking for you for so long. I can't wait to hold you. I owe you so many hugs, and we've been praying for you over your birthdays and over Christmases, and we were all sadly been missing you. You know, and don't ever think for a second that we gave you, it wasn't like that at all, honey. It was some weird thing, and it's just the way it happened." And I put out, you know, in newspaper articles and flyers, and "Have you seen my son? And where are you, Kevin?" And just on, and she goes, I laugh at this because she was like, "Well, my husband now, but my boyfriend Bob says, you know, next week he's going to bring me down there. I'll get a motel room, and we can visit with you." And I was like, "Are you kidding? I want to come see you." She goes, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll come see you, you know." And she goes, "Really?" And I was like, "Yeah." She goes, It's kind of dangerous, and the passes is not. "Mom, I got an Oldsmobile, man. Ain't nothing gonna stop me." And she goes, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." "And you got you know, 2 beautiful granddaughters." And she goes, "Oh, really?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's little Samantha Renee and little Adriana Rochelle. I'm gonna take them to their grandparents on my wife's side, and me and my wife will come up there." She goes, "No, really?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll come up right now. I just got to get some gas and get my kids over there." And so I get the kids all ready. They're in the car, and I'm getting ready to take off, and I call Mom and say, "Hey, Mom." She's, "Yes, sir, what?" she's like, "I said, guess what, Mom? I'm leaving the house right now." "You are?" I said, "Yep, I'm leaving right now. I'm gonna go drop off the kids, and I'll give you a call as I get, you know, again, you know, whatever." So we go from Pasco to Kennewick. That's where the grandparents were at. So I dropped off my kids, and of course I called Mom again. I said, "Hey, Mom, guess what?" "What, honey?" I said, "I'm getting closer." "You are?" I said, "Where are you at?" So I'm in Kennewick, Mom. "I'm getting closer." "Oh, honey, I can't wait to see you." "Well, I'm getting there." And then we went to Richland because it's, you know, on the way out of town, my wife worked at they call it coffee shop there inside of Fred Meyer's, and she's like, "Hey, we better get us a couple quad shots." And I was like, "We got about a 6-hour drive ahead of us." And I'm like, "Okay, make mine a quad for sure. Make it a tall one." So, you know, she goes in there and does that. While she's in there, you know, I call Mom, hey, guess what, Mom? What, honey? I said, I'm getting closer. And she goes, where are you at? I said, I'm in Richmond. Are you really? I said, yeah. I said, oh, here comes Sally. I got to get off the phone so I can drive. Okay, well, I love you. And then I hung up, and then, you know, we're driving down the way, and then we come up to, I think the first town that I pulled off was probably Natchez, which is on the way to Yakima's along the way, and I pulled off, and of course my wife's like, why are you pulling over, you know? So I got to call my mom. And she goes, really? You're kind of ridiculous. No, I'm not. Yeah, so I pull over, and I'm like, call her, and she says, yes, honey. And I was like, Mom, guess what? I'm getting closer. Where are you at, baby? So I'm in Natchez, Mom. Where are you? I said, yep, I'm getting closer. Okay, I got to go. So I get on there and then stopped just outside of Yakima. And I can't remember, there's another town around there where I stopped outside of Yakima. And of course, I call them again because I already know that when you go over that White Pass, there's not really any place to stop unless you stop on top. And I ain't stopped on top.
No.
I'm going all the way across. So I called her again, and, you know, I got me another coffee. And I was like, Mom, guess what? What, son, what? I said, closer. I'm getting closer, Mom. Guess where I'm at? She goes, where? I said, I'm in Natchez. Where's that? That's right before Yakima. You know, and that was the first one, but the next time I was like, I'm right before White Pass, you know, I just passed Yakima. Oh, really? Oh, my gosh, babe. So I said, well, I got my coffee, I'm going to go. So I go all the way across White Pass, and of course, on the other side is Packwood. So naturally, what do? I got to pee. Anyway, all that coffee, so I pull off, you know, and my wife goes and uses the bathroom, so and I said, well, I got to call Mom. Guess what? What? I'm getting closer. Well, where are you at? I'm in Packwood, Mom. Are you really? I said, yeah, I'm on your side of the state now. Oh, honey, you know, so I was like, okay, let's go. So we start going, and I think the next place we stopped was, I want to say Wharton, you know. We pull off in there, and I do the same thing again, you know. Call Mom. Mom, guess what? What, honey? I'm getting closer. And she goes, where are you at? I said, I'm in Wharton. Where are you? I said, yep, Mom, I'm getting there. I gotta go. Got back on the road, and there's a gas station. I remember at the intersection where I-5 and Highway 12 meet, and I stopped there so I could get on. Hey, guess where I'm at now? Where? I said, I'm about to hit I-5. Getting closer. Oh. I said, okay, I gotta go. Got on there, and we hit I-5, and we followed up. And there's I can't remember the first town, but it's the extension to Highway 12 runs up, and I can't remember the name of this first little town, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna stop off here. And of course, I was driving my wife crazy with this, but I pulled over and I said, hey, Mom, you know, I'm in this little dirt hole town. I don't know what it's called. I think it's Oslo or something. I really don't know, but guess what? I'm getting closer. I'm on Highway 12, Mom, coming to you. Oh, honey, I say, yep, that's right, I'm getting closer. And she's like that. She was crying.
Yeah, I was.
But I know it was crying from, you know, like being just so excited. You know, she's finally getting to, you know, and me, I tried to be the good son and just like, well, you know, like, call her, man. It's, like, you know, I need her help, you know, because 6 hours is an awful long time to wait for somebody to, without talking to them. And we didn't have a cell phone. So anyway, kept driving, and I can't remember, before Aberdeen, there's a town. That I stopped at. I want to say Monsanto, maybe. I can't remember. I don't know. Either way, there was, and I called you again. And so, Mom, guess what? Getting closer. I mean, Monsanto, I think, is what it was. Yeah. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, and I was like, I'm getting closer. Are you? Oh my God! I could tell that every time I called her, it's like the excitement and the sound of her voice was just so much more like, you know. I could tell she was just like, oh my God, hurry up, get here, you know, kind of thing. And then I stopped in Aberdeen, and I saw a Safeway off the deal, so I got into Aberdeen. And I called her as I'm walking. You know, I get into the store or whatever. I think I got on the payphone. I thought we had a cell phone. I can't remember. That's so long ago. Oh my gosh. But anyway, I called her again, and hey, Mom, I'm getting closer. Guess where I'm at right now? She goes, where? I said, I'm at that Safeway in Aberdeen. She goes, you are? Oh my gosh. You're just around the corner. She goes, what are you doing there? I said, well, we get you a dozen roses. I mean, any good son. I've never seen his mom before. Who would want to get her a dozen roses, right? She goes, oh. I said, I'll be hitting the road here real soon. And I went and paid for the roses and stuff. And got all the way down there to Ocean Shores finally. And it was a windy switchback of a road, too. I was like, I'm never going to get here so dark. But I got there, and there was a McDonald's right when you first come into town. If anybody's ever been to Ocean Shores, they know where it's at. And I pulled in and I called her. I said, hey, guess what, Mom? What, honey? Where are you at? I said, I'm at this doggone McDonald's in Ocean Shores. You are? Oh my gosh! I'm just down the street. I'm gonna send you brother Johnny. He's gonna drive my Camaro down there. It's a white Camaro. You can't miss it. He's your little brother Johnny. So you get to see him first. And Johnny was such a good-looking boy. He's really, he's pretty. I mean, he's a good-looking boy. I was like, wow, good looks definitely running the family. So I give him a big hug. And take him off his feet, and he gets in his car, gets in, the Camaro, and I follow her there, and it was like he pulled in, and I didn't even wait for him to get out of the car to even, because normally you think that people are gonna want you, wait to have him open the door to me. I was like, I don't think they're gonna care, and there ain't nobody who's gonna stop me from hitting that door.
No.
All right. Boom! Mom's right there. Guess what, Mom? I'm here. And she was like, oh, in tears. I said, look, I brought you roses. And she came over, and oh my gosh, I remember we just hugged and just we couldn't quit. Just it was the most wonderful hug anybody could ever get. It's that hug, and you feel the love. It's almost like like me being a dad, having children, my children, I feel that love every time they give me a hug, and so much of the past that I ever gone through, it's like, it really wasn't a good, good for me, but at the same time, it's like, God had a plan, and whether we like what goes on in that plan, I look back and realize how many lives that I myself, before I even met Mom, have touched in the past, just because I grew up on the east side of Washington State, where she was living on the west side, and I think about all the people I ever came in contact, helped out, or just went out of my way just to be, that person that was just there at the right place, the right time.
That's right.
The crazy thing is too, there were several women out there that were my friends' moms or whatever, that, especially after Betty died, their hearts went out to them. Oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine, and they were like, I remember this lady, her name was Milia Mesqua. She passed she had diabetes, but I went to school with her son, and I remember after she had passed or whatever, a month later, her boy came up to my door and, hey, my mom said I could spend the night, but she wants to talk to your mom. And I was like, my mom would love to talk to your mom, but she died last month. And you go, what? I thought you were my best friend. How can you didn't tell me? Well, I don't want no pity. I never told anybody that about my being adopted or about these aren't my family. I mean, not really. They were in a sense, but and his mom, I remember he ran out and told her, and he comes back. He goes, my mom wants to talk to you. And when I went out there, oh my gosh. Bless that woman's heart, she was crying. She goes, mijo, she was Hispanic, she goes, mijo, son, I couldn't imagine me being gone with, I have 4 boys, she couldn't imagine. She goes, you know what, from now on, you're going to be my white son. And boy, I tell you what, that woman, every time I was over at their house or whatever, she paraded me around to all her friends and family. This is my son.
That's
She
my
was
boy.
very proud. Of course, you're pretty handsome and all that. That was a good thing. But it made me feel good that it was not just her. It was I could name off probably 6 or 7 other ladies that were there for me like a mom. That there was nothing I could do wrong. They were genuine. A good mom, she accepts you, of course, because, for who you are,
Right,
I mean,
unconditionally. Right.
and they were all the same way.
Right.
It's like I couldn't have done nothing wrong. Not that I did stuff wrong. I'm just saying I couldn't have done nothing wrong. I think they appreciated that I kept their kids out of trouble.
Well,
too,
sure.
I just wasn't like that. But since everything, life's been okay. I mean, I don't wonder who I am anymore. I mean, as far as, family members, do I got brothers and sisters and all that? Because, for years, that was horrible. It
Well, you came into my life, and all of a sudden you're the older brother. You have a sister older than you, but you were so excited because you had, you know.
I never had little.
No.
I was the youngest in that family.
And then all of a sudden here you are. You've got all this family.
That blew me away, and I remember my sister Melody. I remember I miss her so bad, but I remember first time I seen her, and she was holding my niece, and I went up there and I put my arms around her, and I was like, my little sister, and then her ears popped. She goes, Mom.
Yeah.
Mom, that's exactly.
Yes.
I told you that's what he was telling me, and it was crazy. I was like, what are you guys talking about?
Mm-hmm.
And she just had that giggle, you know. And she goes, well. and you know what's crazy on top of that is the fact that Melody overheard Bob and Mom talking about looking for me to begin with, and I remember her telling me, she goes, I could hear them, and she goes, and I heard, and I knew it was you, but I heard you giggle, and she goes, and then for some reason I knew it was you, and I was like, really? And she goes, yeah, and I could hear, I was up in my room, the doors closed, and I could hear Mom, you know, talking about this letter that she wants to send off, and she needed money or whatever, and she goes, you know what's weird is that right when I was hearing all this, I heard you giggle, and she goes, there was a figurine of an angel. And
yes.
as soon as she heard me giggle, and she remembered that she had put money inside that hollow figurine, like I want to say $600 or $700. It was just enough.
It was like 800 or 9,
yeah,
like 850, right?
I remember her telling me, she goes, yeah, I grabbed it and I went down there. Mom, guess what? We're gonna do this. Let's go.
Yes, but she heard your voice. She literally heard you giggling and saying, "My little sister," and so when you were actually with her, you held her in your arms and you said, "My little sister."
Yeah, she was just, yeah.
So Kevin, let me ask you this. If you were to say anything to our viewers today about our circumstance, because truly we have a miracle that we can share that a lot of people probably maybe really would covet that situation in their own life. Maybe someone that maybe they gave up for adoption, a child, maybe they just don't know who to turn to. And we have the organization W.A.R.M that was God's means of putting us together, because I tried, I don't know, probably 50 different organizations, and one point an organization sent me, like, I think there was 3,000 or more Kevin Anglins, and I started writing letters. Are you him? I mean, I had this really nice letter formatted and explained my story, and I got so worn out sending out all these letters, but everything was a dead end. But with W.A.R.M, they go in, and if there's a locked file that's sealed, they can go in and actually put together families that are broken units. So let me ask you this, because I've already given, you know, my side of testimonial of how you just don't give up hope. You just don't give up, you know, your desire, or whatever it is, if that's birthed in you and that's a desire that you have. So if you were to say anything to our viewers today to encourage them and build hope in their hearts, what maybe you would just share with them today?
In all honesty, you know, I found God, I found Jesus. He allowed me to find Him, more or less. I found myself reading Scripture. It was crazy because there was a lot of times when I'd have issues about stuff, like, you know, I could just close my eyes, open it up, and wherever my finger led, and I'd look, and it was crazy weird how that one little sentence just totally would hit it right on the nail head, like, wow, man, the Bible's really alive. And and you know, I just say, you know, you never give up hope. I mean, you know, and by turning to Jesus, I mean, you got to realize He's our Father to begin with.
Yes.
And, you know, and no matter who your earthly parents are,
that's right.
You know, you got to understand. There's in Romans chapter 8-9, my grandmother passed told me, you know, God wanted me to tell you to remember this, and Basically, you know, I don't know word for word, but basically to be in the spirit, you got to be, you know, to be of it, you got to be in it. So you got to be spiritually, you know, there, so that when you pass from here to, okay, that, you know, this is just a car we're driving, basically, you know. Yeah, I got a nice car, I like it, but I'm just saying that's what this is. So Romans chapter 8-9, I believe, you know, does state that, you know, and it's little things that I've gotten out of the Bible. It was even before I was even baptized, you know. I was reaching the whole time, and that's what kept me from not, you know, giving up just on life in general, because I mean, I just felt for a long time that I really didn't have no purpose. So I didn't give up. I turned to the Bible. I felt that if anybody can take anything from this story, I'd say don't turn your back on God.
There you go.
You know, stay in the Word. You know, remember that who's in control.
Yes.
Remember that God's time is not the same as our time, and that we all, truthfully, God's got a plan for us all, and sometimes we may be living His plan, and it may not be working out the way we like, but realize in the end, when His plan comes together, you can really truly see His miracle that of all the things that got you up to that point.
Yes.
You know, and that's what I was saying about the people that you've come in contact with over the years, and this and this, that, you know. None of anything that I ever did as a young man up until I met you, if I'd have been with you the whole time, all those people's lives, and I know I affected a lot on Eastern Washington, just me being me, happy-go-lucky, and, you know, it wouldn't have happened.
That's true.
You know, I know that God blessed all those people by putting me there, even though it hurt you. And I think, honestly, by Him taking me from you, it's that, you know, He allowed me to be born on Mother's Day. So you'd always have something to, you know, a strong bond with me. And by taking me for that long, He put it so that you would get closer to Him, so that your bond with God and with Jesus would be stronger.
Constantly.
I believe that, because you don't know if I'd have been with you the whole time, if where you're at now in life, your bond that you have with God, if it'd be nearly as strong as it is now.
True.
And it takes sometimes, you know, situations like what we've gone through to grow in Christ. You know, and the fact is that by believing in Jesus Christ, we, you know, by the blood of Christ, we were all given everlasting life.
Yes, and that's
you know?
right.
And that's the key. You know, we may have lost 26 and a half years now, but Mom, we got forever.
We got eternity. Yes.
We got forever to be together. So 26 and a half years is a drop in the bucket. It doesn't mean anything. I mean, it does to a lot of people, but to me it doesn't mean anything, because I got you now, and I got you forever.
I love you.
You know, I love you too.
Thank you for sharing today. I know it's hard.
Yeah.
It's a hard one, but
It's okay. I love you too much, Mama.
I love you too much too. If you would like more information on the Whispers of Hope show, or if you would like to share your story on our program, please see the contact information at the end of this video. You can also follow us on Facebook or subscribe to our YouTube channel. This show airs on Comcast, Channel 22 in Thurston County on the following days. Monday at 11:30 a.m., Thursday at 6:30 p.m., and Saturdays at 12:30 p.m. I want to thank you again for joining us. Goodbye.